Cool. Starting a little bit early today. No worries. Today is March 14th, 2023.
So if I was like hiring it,
It's good. Solely Maine from France was good. Nicholas, glad you guys are here. Got started a few minutes early today. We'll give it some time, allow people to come on here, give you guys a chance to share the stream with your people. Excuse me, with your people, and go from there. Just sent an alert at 32,036 for the Dow Jones. Be careful. This is I think it's June. The June contract, June 2023. So just be mindful of that. 3886 for the June micro S&P as well. I have an alert down there. And it looks just a little bit better on a 5-minute. This looks pretty good. That looks pretty good right there. So we'll see. Shared that on Twitter as well. 3886 for the micro S&P. But it is hard to tell when we have ES taking liquidity at 7:30 and micros did not. So ridiculous. We are still under March. You can still trade the March contract, but I have swapped all of my contracts for June. So MNQM, NQM, MESM, ESM, MYMM, and YMM. So I have swapped over personally. I haven't done anything today. Probably will not. If I did, I would likely take shorts. We traded into that imbalance here at 39.42, and it came down to 39.26. So there was some points offered there, some pips offered on that. The only thing that would really negate that idea, we're at the open in this new hour, and we do have a 1 hour imbalance, but technically it is being respected. But we're at the open of the new hour now. It's 1 o'clock, aka 2 p.m. EST. So I would like to see us trade through that. However, I do happen to be bearish, just like yesterday, and we can also follow up with what happened yesterday. I shared on my community tab the outcome of yesterday and all that. So gotta put the risk disclaimer up there. Make sure you guys understand that this is not financial advice. I'm not a licensed financial advisor or anything like that, but I believe that 3886 could be on the table for this afternoon, if we do happen to be bearish. So we'll see how it goes. Again, if you hopped on a little bit late, it's cool. I have an alert for the S&P at 3886 for the micro S&P June contract, triple lows here. For the Dow, okay, some lows down here at 32,036. That could be on the table for today as well. The Nasdaq, our strongest index today, could be bearish as well, but I don't really have a downside target for that. So if it were me, I would likely want to short Dow more so than the others, but you know, there's always uncertainty. Always uncertainty. However, if I was in this, if I was in at this imbalance at 42 or even like 41, my stop would go to 39 and a half or 39 even. There's an up candle here. Price is looking like it's not able to get past that. So it could be a bearish market, but since I'm not in on that, I'm just going to leave it alone for now. And we'll take a look at other things. Was the volume bigger for those contracts? Probably so. Probably so. Man, I keep forgetting to set the stream deck up for the other stream. So the volume and open interest is larger for the June contract. There you have it. Open interest and the volume is now higher for the June contract. ESM, not ESH. ESH is still tradable. It's still tradable, but there's just more volume now on June for the June contract. Make sense? So there's that. You can always check. You don't always need me for that. What's good, Naruto? What's good, Ali? You're welcome, John. You are welcome. So I looked at bunch of other stuff. I think today is very similar to yesterday in terms of cleanliness. I didn't really like everything that was in here. Didn't take any long, positions there or anything like that. Here's our open. We did have a down candle respected. This down candle was respected as well. And then we met 39.72, which was yesterday's high. Pre-London actually. So that was interesting. We barely traded up into that. Broke structure, came back into this down candle here, which to me is a little bit hard to see as mitigation. Plus that was right in the middle of lunch too, so I wouldn't have played that, even though it sank like a rock. If it was me, I would have played that right there. And so again, I just think it makes the most logical sense for us to trade lower more so than higher. Like I said a minute ago, those same lows for ES have already been taken for ES on at 7:30. So that to me is kind of like, they are different assets. There's different volume and stuff like that, which I don't really care for when it does that. In itself, it is a divergence, I would say, but between the same asset, I don't really look at it as something that I would use to trade. But things are looking bearish. We're only going to be here for probably about 45 minutes to an hour, and that's what I'm looking for. So I guess we'll cover what we did yesterday. Okay, for what we did yesterday. And oh, what the fuck? Let me see if this works. Hey, make sure you guys are subscribed. If you've liked the video so far, make sure to give the stream a like as well, especially if you liked yesterday's price action, because you know we talked about that final hour, right? We talked about that final hour getting some volatility. We talked about these lows down in here, and if you saw my Instagram, I recorded a reel from this imbalance actually prior to that. Okay, because we came down, didn't sweep those lows just yet. We rallied. I recorded it from down in here that we rallied, hit that imbalance, and then bam, straight down into those lows. So if you were looking for that yesterday, beautiful. Okay, absolutely gorgeous movement for the S&P that you guys got to see ahead of time. You got to know about that ahead of time. I don't remember what time we got off the session yesterday, but if we look at it, the 13th at okay, the Nasdaq did the same thing. Here's that same imbalance, which it did overtrade through a little bit, but traded into this mitigation, high, low, higher, high, wrecked through that. So traded into this down candle as well. That was shortable in hindsight, but again, this was given to you beforehand. So is it really hindsight? You know, you tell me. Okay, which comes after that higher high seen on the Nasdaq. Remember, we talked about that, guys. We talked about that. We said, look, if Nasdaq makes a higher high and the other indices don't do that, that would likely be problematic for longs. And lo and behold, the markets shorted. They sold off in that last hour. So hopefully you watched that. Okay, I'm not saying you should have participated. I'm just saying hopefully you watched it. Hopefully you got some value out of that. Okay, hopefully. Okay, getting a little bit of volatility here at the open of the new hour. It's only been about 9 minutes or so, but the Dow looks like it's continuing lower. The S&P also reaching a little bit lower down into the 15s. It's above 20 now, but it reached a little bit lower, and the Nasdaq as well. So like I said, if I was in, my stop would be here, because that would be protecting the entry. And then also I told you that this up candle here was you know, price was unwilling to trade above that, so it just looked like, you know, we should sell off. So now that we got this lower low, I would probably, if I was in that again, I'd probably bump it down 1 or 2 points just to secure a little bit more, but just to give this a little bit of breathing room. Because again, you know, if I believe that we're getting 38.86, I wouldn't want to choke the trade necessarily. But you know, and that's the thing, man. Sometimes there's that balance, or there's that that weighing in of, you know, should I go break even quickly to protect capital, or should I let the trade run and give it breathing room? But if I give it breathing room, am I giving it too much breathing room where it's like, oh, I should have took profits or took something out, or I should have got out altogether, right? There's always going to be like that internal conflict, right? So I'm just trying to walk you through, you know, if I was in that, what I would do, you know. I would likely want to let this run with probably 2 or 3 points of protection, aiming for like 50. You know what I mean? So now the only I guess thing here is that if I'm wrong, this may end up being a mitigation later on to go higher. So I don't know. But if I had to say, I think I'd be more bearish than I would be bullish. So we're going to take that higher line off because it's not useful to me anymore. Just those lows at 38.86. And then we will see what we do after that. Know what I'm saying? So we got our potential afternoon bias, what I'll be looking for. In case I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. We talked about yesterday, and we briefly covered, yesterday's last hour of trading. So hopefully, hopefully you got some insight on that. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask, because I really don't have anything else. Metals are higher. Silver is higher. I think gold might slightly be lower. I'm not sure what's up with that, but there's silver. That's up about 0.5%. Okay, whatever. And then gold is down. Oh yeah, well, I mean, it's only down like 0.29%, so not by much, but pulling back a little bit. And there's that. I don't think I had anything for the dollar, really. Dollar looks not so good. Looks not so good, and I don't really have a bias there. And a lot of things, let me take a look at euro. A lot of things aren't looking too good for currency. Just on an intraday basis, it's just been very whipsaw. You know what I mean? Like, here's our news from this morning. We went up, down, back up, back down, up, retracement, and then now we're back up again. So I don't know, man. I don't really care for that. British pound, same. Like, this is disgusting. We took yesterday's high. I can't tell if we went higher or lower first on that. Probably higher first, then lower to sweep a low, then back up, and then came down for this low, and then we're back in the range. So I would not touch British pound at all. Wouldn't do it. Look at that. Look at those lows on Australian dollar, and look how clean those were. That's pretty nice. But yeah, overall, it's been a very choppy week. Volatile, but choppy, and for some, very difficult. Very, very difficult. So, but yeah, I'll just keep watching this, see what we do, and go from there, man. What are you guys looking at as far as asset wise? What have you guys been studying and looking for? Got a sugar-free Red Bull on deck today. Don't tell Siva. He'll come on here and roast me for it. Oh, I did post that reel on not only my Instagram, but I posted it to Twitter as well. So if you guys follow me on Twitter, it is also there. So that's always cool. That's always cool. When there's a rally or sell off and there's equal lows or highs left, would you know the mitigation saw for the NASDAQ would go there instead of hitting the highs? I should indices, but I look at dollar, treasury bond futures, and U.S. government bond yields. All right, Mr. John, I'm not sure I understand your question on that. What's good, Willow? How would you know the mitigation? So I don't know if you're talking about today's setup. What I would have wanted to see, I had this markup here earlier. I marked this up, but in all fairness, I did mark up the imbalance as well, which it didn't get into. So that's kind of, you know, it's kind of crazy. But if we look, if we do some further investigation, you don't have an imbalance there, but look at this shit. Look at that little space right there. See that? Look at that. Oh man, but 1 minute charts, man. Get off 1 minute charts. Oh, we can tell what type of entries you have. You know what I'm saying? But let me stop. I don't want to go. I don't want to go there today. I want to do that today. But you know, there was a gap right there. And that, matter of fact, that was also on the 5 minute as well. Kinda. There is a small gap right there, or you know, some people call it a volume imbalance, like whatever you want to call it, man. Whatever you want to call it, shit don't matter to me. You could call it a wham bam, you know, and you whatever. Like really, that shit does not matter. But oh yeah, let me get back to your question. That was the whole purpose of coming back here. So it's just the setup, man. It's just what I'm used to seeing, right? High, low, higher high. This run lower is fast and aggressive, so my eye goes immediately to this down candle, which is right there. So like that to me is shortable. If I didn't put in an order on NASDAQ, but if I did, it would have been at this imbalance and I would have missed it. But the problem there is that the NASDAQ is our strongest index today. It's up 1.3%. The Dow is only up 0.26%. So I think it would have been probably better to short the Dow. And well, it didn't have that same mitigation. It did to a degree, but not really. Not at the same time, at least. Because this occurred at 1240. At 1240, the Dow was way down here compared to its high. So, but the Dow, you do have a lot of gaps, like right there and right there. But if you remember yesterday, we talked about Dow. It did have a potential upside of, I think it was 32,400. But since we have changed contracts, the price is going to change as well. So that same 15-minute highs here is actually 32,600. So that was a potential upside from this morning. But given the fucking fat reversal that we've gotten, that may not be on the upside for today. The S&P, however, did take yesterday's high by like a tick, which to me, you know, not the greatest run, but you know, as always, I say this all the time. Like, look, I don't run markets, man. I don't move them. You know, I don't tell price what to do. Price tells me. So if it fucking takes it by a tick and then drops down and wants to sell off, then who am I to argue that? You know, it's just me personally, like my personal opinion from like really good trades I've taken, I like to see wicks, you know, that do shit like that, you know, or they take it up to like an 80 level. Like that to me is just way better in my opinion. But you know, we can't draw wicks, man. I mean, you could, but that's not real price, you know. So it's just a matter of, are you going to take the setup or not? I didn't take NASDAQ. Even if I did, I wouldn't have been in anyway because the order never hit. But you know, if I'm looking at it, I'm going, well, why would I short the strongest index today? That doesn't really make any sense to me. It's still tradable, but it's not the weakest asset. Dow is the weakest. I mean, do y'all see the difference here? Look how where the Dow is at in comparison to these lows in here and compared to its recent high, right? And then look at the NASDAQ, right? The NASDAQ is closer to its high than it is the low, whereas the Dow is really close to these lows compared to this high. You see what I'm saying? So it's not always just the numbers, but it's the price action. I mean, structure if you want to, or whatever. And the S&P is kind of in the middle, but more so towards the lows. Now this imbalance, however, was on a higher side, if you will. Like, and this is what I teach as the Fibonacci logic, okay, or the Gann logic. Okay, I don't know what just happened with the camera. Y'all can still see me, right? Like it turned off and then back on or some shit. You guys can see me, right? Technology, man. What the fuck? All right. The logic. Okay. The logic. That's right. So yeah, I teach this as the Fibonacci logic. It's in my book. I didn't do the Gann box, but either way it goes, it doesn't really fucking matter. Okay. When you have price come down and then you have price come up and then price is in the middle, right? When price is in the middle, a lot of the times I expect consolidation, or I expect for me to not probably take good trades because when price is at 50%, my accuracy goes to dog shit. However, if these are equal lows down here and that's a target, that's great. I want to find a concept that is, you know, way up here. At a minimum in the upper half, even better, you know, like a 618 or a 786. But that's not a traditional range though. Okay, because normally if this was a fib retracement, we would go low to high and then a 618 would be down here. But that's not what I'm looking at. I'm looking at, if we have lows where I think price is going to go to, we took yesterday's high. Okay, cool. The high's been set. Opinion has been set, right? If we're gonna run here, okay, cool, then a retracement that's in the upper half or better, like a higher end, great, then let's, you know, okay, because that's gonna give us low risk high reward trade, right? Low risk high reward setup, right? So if we get it wrong, okay, cool, it runs to our stop and we lose whatever amount that is. But if we're right and we can hold the trade, then we'll be right a lot more, right? So then we want to frame something like a 1 to 3 or a 1 to 4, or you know, ideally something better. Okay, so for me, again, if you look at the logic of it, I'm going, all right, we think price is going to go down here to 38.86. If price has made a high at 38.72 and a half, that could be our high of the day. I don't know. We won't know until 3 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? But if it is, okay, great. So look at that middle line here at 39.29. So I want to be able to take a concept that's above that. You know what I mean? So do we have that? Yeah, you had that imbalance here. And look at that mitigation up here. Even though to me it was at a shitty time, do you see the logic? Right? Do you see the logic? If you had shorted way up here, price is in your favor by a fucking long shot. 30, 32 points as of right now. You know what I mean? Like, great. But your risk here is very minimal. Like 12, maybe 15 points, you know, something like that. Here, let me take this off. Like if you shorted that mitigation with the stop at this high and a target of 38.86, probably 38.80, because 86 is just the lows. If we run below that, it'll likely run lower than just the 86 level. You know what I mean? Get this fucking loud ass song. So that ends up being about a 1 to 5, a little bit more. So that's a pretty good RR. Now on this second one, the one that I was looking for that right there. Now, depending on where your stop is at, if that 5-minute imbalance is inside of a 15-minute, then my stop would probably go to that. So it's about 18. That's a little bit high, but hey, it is what it is. Aiming for the lows, that's still a 1 to 3. Aiming for the 80 level, that's still about a 1 to 3 and some change. So like, to me, 18 is kind of a lot. I might bump it down to 15, only because we're like in super volatile environment. And I would water down the contract size as well. But you know, that's a 1 to 4. So to me, like, that's worth the risk, right? If we're gonna put risk on, the reward needs to be solid. You know what I mean? And again, if I was break even right now, I'd be a little bit worried, because again, if we entered at 42, my stop would be at like 39.5 or maybe like 38, just to lock in like 4. Okay, because I could be wrong about 38.86. And when price runs over 20 something points, why would I not go break even? To have an open risk after price runs 20 points, to me, that's just retarded. That's just dumb. You know what I mean? So, I don't know where we were going with that. I think that was from the NASDAQ question. Sometimes I wait for liquidity to be taken out, but it stops short and goes the intended direction was aiming for. Why do you have this futures and not the March contract? I'm really confused with all those futures. Don't know which one to use for the whole numbers. Right now, we have swapped to the June contract because of volume and open interest is now higher on June than it is for March. But if you don't trade futures, if you look at like SPX or SP 500 or whatever, then it's going to be different. But I would switch over to June for right now. I did bring up bar chart a little bit earlier, so if you want to scroll back to that, you can. You're welcome to do so. It's just simple. You just look at volume and open interest. Whichever one's higher, that's the one you typically go with. You know what I'm saying? And then that is a wrap. Know what I mean? That is a wrap. So what I'm looking at now is, I want to be right, of course. I mean, obviously everybody wants to be right. But what I'm actually looking for, again, still this up candle here. I want to see if price is unable to push past that. Because if it does, that's fine. But it may as well end up being a mitigation later on. Right? I would rather not see that. Like if we wreck to the upside and then back into it, there is still a possibility that we could go higher. But again, that's not what I want to see personally. We won't Let me delete all this. Let me just bring back that mitigation, and that's it. I'll just leave that there. And again, that same thing for the S&P. Okay, so it's not a trade idea. It's not a trade recommendation. I'm not saying it's short. I'm not saying that. I'm just watching it. You know, for transparency, I wanted to get in on that. I did not. So I'm probably going to just leave it alone for today. This week's been a little bit ugly, even though we did, you know, we were able to frame yesterday's afternoon short rather. Even then though, like it ain't all that. But for studying price, if we're in bearish order flow, then I would want to see this up candle hold. And if I'm wrong, we go higher. And that's it. Marcellus looking for the buy. Looking for the buy. Trading CFDs, when I thought that would look at futures for the whole number. Yes. I see your logic there. I see your logic. US 30. We have talked about Dow today. Dow's the weakest of the indices. We do have an alert set at 32,036 for the Dow Jones. To me, those are lows that the market may want to reach for. I would be a little bit more confident with the Dow wanting to take those if we had done like that. We'll just fucking keep drawing wicks. I don't remember which. I think it's the gray above the blue. Like if we had that, I would really be confident with those lows. But we didn't do that. We don't have to, but I think that's on the table for today. We did take these short-term lows though from this morning. So let me put it to you this way. If we had shorted this mitigation, which I wouldn't have, but if we did, I think that new low would have been a partial. These two lows here would have been a partial, and I would still be holding on to see if we get 32,036 for like the longer term objective for today on the downside. Okay. One thing about the Dow as well is I want to say this. So this imbalance was at 1205. So that same 1205 imbalance to me was traded into on the micros for the S&P, but it was not traded into for the Dow here. So there's a little bit of a difference there. And now, since we've met a little bit of some lows, we have now a short-term high as well. So think about that. Think about anyone who was short on this leg lower, right? They're killing it. They're having a good time. They're screenshotting all that shit, right? Where are they taking their stops? They're probably bumping it lower to this high. So 32,275 might be a short-term manipulation run to the upside. Hard to tell. Hard to tell, but we will know later on. Those same lows are similar on the Dow ETF, but that doesn't really look all that appealing. It doesn't really look all that appetizing, if you know what I'm saying. Does it look good? Does it look too good? So we shall see. So what I'll probably do is probably say the same thing from yesterday. The last hour might give us the volatility that we need for a finesse lower, or I'm wrong and we go higher. On my notes, I do have, well, that's really about it. 3886 for the S&P. So we do have an alert there, as well as Dow, if you guys are into that thing. Let me ask you guys this, for those of you that are on here. Do you guys set alerts at these levels? You know, because they've been triggering, man. They have been triggering. And it's always cool to get that little alert. You know? It's like, oh, where did it go? I did what you were saying, did short up and trail my stop above the high. Well, see, and that's the thing, man. That's the thing. They're doing a little bit different things right now. But it looks like this up candle, it still looks like price is struggling to get above that up candle, is what I'm saying. And that's why my stop would go to the high of that candle if I was in on this short. Because theoretically, right, in a bearish market, I personally would not want to see price trade to the close of that up candle. Like, that's what I would not want to see. However, just like I explained to you on Dow, if the Dow is going to run lower down to those lows, if it wants to run like trailing stops first, then it may as well do that. It may trade up above that short-term high, get buyers in, rebalance price, and then yank that bitch lower. You know, and again, excuse my language, but you know, it is what it is. You know, I could see something like that. You know what I mean? If I had to put a visual on it, I could see something like that happening. Where's 3 o'clock? 3 o'clock is here. You know, so I could see something like that. And just for studying purposes, if it was me, I would probably screenshot that. And then just come back later and see if it panned out or see if it didn't. It would be really cool to see. But for transparency, I'm not putting a trade there. Like, I'm not putting an order there. But yeah, I'll be yawning again. Just like yesterday. Just like yesterday. It doesn't make sense, does it? Man, John, how do you drink all these energy drinks, but you're still tired, you're still yawning, man? Who knows? But I'd probably become immune to caffeine, to be honest. Probably have become immune to caffeine. You know? Like if I ever go give blood, you know, like, all right, you know, take my blood. It'll probably just come out as Red Bull. You know what I mean? I'll probably be like, why is this bag full of Red Bull and not blood? I'll be like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Wouldn't be able to tell you. So may not be able to donate blood, man. So, oh, excuse me. One thing about the S&P here too is now we're kind of back near that 50% range. Now we're in between the liquidity at 38.86 and 39.72. So it's looking a little shaky, but we will see how it goes. What I'm going to try and do tonight as well. Let me see. What's today? Tuesday. So I clipped yesterday's segment on Red Bull and tequila. Tequila I do have. I have an open bottle of Herradura, so we'll see about opening that a little bit later. But we clipped yesterday's discussion on premeditatio malorum and the that circle thing we did, diversification, if you will. So I will post that as a video. and hopefully you guys can take a look at that. It's only, I think, like 8 or 9 minutes long. It won't be long, but that's what I think I'm gonna start doing is, you know, when we go live for 2-3 hours and we have like, you know, long discussions about various things, I think what I'm gonna start doing is clipping some of those discussions and just making them videos, because I don't think a lot of people are actually going to go back and watch a 2-hour 3-hour live session. You know what I mean? I don't, I wouldn't. So did get that NTD trigger last week too. Oh, nice. I had to stop setting alerts, says Nicholas, because they mostly activate during my sleeping hours. Man, the manager drinks not good for you. They're not. You can build a tolerance to caffeine. Oh, I'm sure I have. That's why I don't, you know. What are those things? They got so many new energy drinks out nowadays, and a lot of them have like 150 milligrams. Dude, that's not enough. I'm gonna need like 3 of those. That's why I drink Bang. It's got 300 milligrams, and like that's what I'm used to. And then every once in a while, like today, I'll have a Bang, and then I'll have a sugar-free Red Bull. So yes, I have built up an immunity. I have built up a tolerance to caffeine. The military will do that. The military will do that. It will do that. Oh my goodness. Excuse me. I gotta get my beard trimmed as well. Can't be on camera looking like Mufasa. You know what I mean? Can't be looking like Mufasa on here. But it's cool. Any other questions you guys got? If you've gotten value today so far, make sure to give the video a like. Make sure to subscribe if you are not already subscribed, so that way you don't miss future content. You can click the notification button so you can get notified whenever we go live on here. And you don't want to miss out. You know, like yesterday, outlining what was potentially going to happen prior to it happening, right? You got to be here, otherwise you fucking miss it. You know what I mean? Now, I'm not saying that it's a trade idea, okay? So don't go around, oh, John's giving signals. I am not, okay? But if you want to watch price and study it, you got to be here. I don't know what else to tell you. You know, a lot of people, they like to ask questions. They want to, you know, send me charts and do all these things, but you don't show up for the live sessions. That's what we're here for. We're here specifically for that reason, right? Now I get it. Some people are on the other side of the world, or, you know, different time zones. I get that. I get that. But either way, because look, I don't want to be an asshole, okay? I used to be, but you know, I don't want to be that guy that just goes, all right, I got your question, but that's been answered. Go watch this video. Oh, it's been answered already. Go watch this. Or, hey, you should have been on the live session. That's what I really want to say. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of you and only one of me. So when I get the same question from different people, you think I want to sit there and answer the same shit over and over again? Imagine if you did that. Imagine, you know, if someone asked you the same question every day or every couple days. You know? When's your birthday? Oh, okay, cool. When's your birthday? When's your birthday? It's like, damn, bro. how many times do I gotta answer the same shit, you know? So I'm just trying to give you my perspective, guys. It's why we do these things. It's why I have a schedule. And I tell you guys, this is what the schedule is. Do you see the candle at 8:15 as a mitigation candle on NASDAQ? Okay, so number one, I don't have a time frame. And number two, you didn't give me a time zone either. So how am I supposed to know, Felix, what time zone and what time frame? Do you have a session covering open interest or run the basics? I will likely clip yesterday's video again, make a second video. We briefly talked about open interest. Matter of fact, I'll do you one better. I'll do you one better. If you go to yesterday's stream, if you go to the 44-minute mark, okay? What the fuck? If you go to the 44-minute mark on yesterday's video, we talked about open interest until about, I don't know, 49 and some change. So again, yesterday's live session, 44-minute mark. Okay. So there you have that. Willow pulls up every time that they're available. That's good, man. That's good. So we should see that run on Dow, that high. Let's see. Let's see what we do. Ugh. I'm gonna stick to a 5-minute and just leave it at that. Just marking up the afternoon session there, and then that final hour for the Dow. That's all that I'm doing there. Let me ask you guys this. Who is currently signed up for the emails? I send out an email every Wednesday. I'll be sending out another one tomorrow, because tomorrow is Wednesday. I give out recommendations for books. Probably going to get into products as well. I just don't want to bombard you with a bunch of shit. That's why I only do it once a week and not like once a day. So I try to give you guys some value with some quotes, with some ideas, whatever. And then there are, again, like product recommendations or book recommendations that you guys are able to you know, go buy it or whatever. So I don't know if I explained this yesterday or not. I'll explain it again. I do those things, right? I don't need the commissions, but the email service, okay, it's not free, right? In order for me to send y'all emails like that, since there are over, well, now there's over, I think, almost 600, but there's over 500 of you in that email list. So it's no longer like free to do. So it does cost me. Now, it will always be free, okay? I will always do that for free, however long this is going to run for. But if you want to give back, okay, all you got to do is buy the products using the link in the email. That's it. And it doesn't cost you anything extra. It doesn't cost anything extra. I just receive a small commission if you do. So the idea is that those commissions need to cover the cost of the email. Otherwise, I'm losing money. and I don't mind it, but I'm just saying there's a reason that I do those things. Okay. 5 minutes, UTC -6. What the fuck? A15. So, man, I still don't know which one you're looking at, but the only one I have is here. Or are you talking about like a one from the morning? Because I'm rocking Central Time. But that to me was a mitigation from earlier. Didn't get in on that. And as of right now, I would probably be worried that this high is going to come back and get smoked. Know what I'm saying? It looks like that high on Dow is going to get smoked as well. See how much time we've spent around that up candle? Remember yesterday we had that 80 level, I think, on S&P. One of y'all pointed that out. And we spent a lot of time there, right? And then guess what? It went higher, didn't it? Right. So like to me, it's like, okay, this up candle, it should hit that trade lower, you know, hypothetically, but it's like, oh shit, well, we hit that. We've been here for fucking 5, 10, 15, 20, almost 25 minutes. You know what I mean? There's that camera going off again. Is it taking pictures or what? Are the feds watching right now? Is that the feds hacking into my camera to see this shit? As if it's not already on YouTube? Like, what the fuck? I swear, man, it's like a new problem every week. First it's the freezes, and it's some other shit, and now it's the camera just doing its own thing. Dude, I don't even know. I don't even know what's going on right now. Fed's getting the sauce, but not giving the views. I'm telling you, man. I am telling you. But unfortunately, we're not going to watch the next hour and 10 minutes because I do have somewhere else to be. But that is what I would look out for today. Okay. We spent a lot of time here. So given the time stop, okay, that's a thing. Okay. Like a time stop, that is a thing. If you're in a trade and it's not going your way, it's just kind of like bullshitting around, you don't have to stay in that trade. You know what I mean? And right now, the more time that we spend doing nothing, I think the less likelihood of us getting to 38.86. You know what I mean? So since we haven't done a lot here, the longer we do nothing, the less chance that we get to 38.86, unless we just rip ass in the last hour. Does that make sense? So I still would think 38.86 is on the table for today, but if we trade above this imbalance, it's done. I don't think it's doing that. We did have some nice movement in here earlier. In the last 30 minutes, nothing. Completely nothing. But I guess for a CPI day, I'm not all that surprised. I mean, hell, we've already had a range of 84 points. And then we came back down another 60. So it's been very volatile, man. And it's asking for a lot. But there's that. So we'll keep that. I'm going to keep that in the back of my mind for today. If we do get 38.86 by 3 o'clock, expect me to brag on Twitter. And if we don't, then we don't. And I'm wrong. Did the Dow run equal highs? It did not. Delano, you have your own chart. It didn't run that. It didn't run that. I wanted it to, but the market doesn't always do what I want it to do. So, all right, we only got 4 minutes left. So here's what, I'll close it out with this, guys. If you're gonna follow the alerts, set an alert for the June contract. Okay, June contract, MYMM 2023. I have an alert at 32,036. Okay, 32,036. For the S&P, the micro side of the S&P, I have an alert at 38.86 and a quarter. And we'll see. All right, those are the two alerts for today. NASDAQ, I don't have any alerts on because I don't. But just be mindful. Let's be mindful. That 5-minute candle here, again, looking like price is struggling to get past that. So if we get our volatility, we might, you know, we might wreck down to those levels. That's what I want to see. All right, so we will be here again tomorrow. Okay, same time, 2 p.m. EST, same place. I will see you guys then. I'll see you guys then. Make sure to like the video. I see how many people are on here. I see how many likes we have. They don't fucking match. They don't match. So let's get some likes on here. I would greatly appreciate that if you got some value out of today. Okay, hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. My only Instagram is not working, but it is at the bottom right of your screen. At John Fibonacci is my only Instagram. It's my only Twitter. It's my only YouTube. All right, I won't ask for Bitcoin or to manage your money or no shit like that. All right, so y'all be blessed. I will see you guys tomorrow.